Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Phil Lindsey.
Fifth time's the charm, kids. It's not what you typically hear. I get it. I screwed it up for you. But took 5 tries to get this thing right. Not this show. We do pretty good on this show. The movie we're talking about today took 5 attempts to get it right. And depending on where your opinion comes in from, you may not even like this one. You may be saying, screw it. I'll just wait for the 6th one to come out when they redo it again. Now, to be fair, the first one, and yes, we're talking about the Fantastic Four, everybody. The first one was that Roger Corman flick, which we don't really talk about all that much. But then there's the Fantastic Four parts 1 and 2. Part 2, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, which is, again, not something we tend to talk about too awful much. Then there was that other film that they called the Fantastic Four. And, you would think that it would have been a smash considering the cast. Then, you would think wrong. Michael B. Jordan couldn't do much to save that movie. And man, the stories about the director of that movie and everything that happened is wild, okay? But now we've got this film, The Fantastic Four, First Steps. We patiently waited for this film. We knew it was coming. We kept reading stuff about they've toned Johnny way down. He's no longer a ladies' man. What is this? The trailer looks weird. The Thing, does he ever raise his voice? What's going on, right? Well, kids, we're here to talk about this, and it took us a bit to get here. But we're going to review this film and see what we think together as a team here, and then what everybody else out there thinks about it, because I'm curious. But before we jump into it, let's do this. The Fantastic Four: First Steps is a 2025 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, the Fantastic Four. Produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is the 37th film in the MCU. That is effing nuts. And the second reboot of the Fantastic Four film series. The film was directed by Matt Shakman from a screenplay by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, and the team of Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer. Yes, it took that many people. It features an ensemble cast that we're going to talk about here today. And as we know, this film is set in the 1960s in another world. This is the 828 world, if I'm not mistaken. It's not the 616. And in this world, the Fantastic Four comes face to face, buddy, you better believe it, with Galactus. And no, he's not just a cloud this time. No monkey business this time. You got the real deal. You wanted it, you got it. The budget for this film was $200 million. And in a running time of 114 minutes, the box office was a little over $520 million. And that is your lowdown for the Fantastic Four: First Steps. So, Phil, I'm guessing the Roger Corman Fantastic Four is your favorite. It's okay, you don't have to admit to it. But where does this one stand for you? Do you think they got it right this time? Or do you think there's still problems with it? What do you think?
I think it's really good. I think that this is probably the best Fantastic Four film so far. And I don't think that the Tim Story movies were terrible. I just think that they were made in a different time, and it's very clear that that's the case. Some of the stuff from it has not aged very well, but I do like what they did with this movie a lot. I like the cast. I think it looks incredible visually. Some of the stuff with Galactus and some of the stuff in space is great. But I think the best thing I could say about it, and the reason I think it's the best Fantastic Four film, is that it treats the team more like scientists and explorers than superheroes.
It does. Well done. I love the aesthetic of it. It looks visually like the 1960s, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think going with a look that feels very vintage worked for it. I think the tone works for this movie. You can see that this is kind of Shackman's wheelhouse, based on like this and WandaVision.
Hmm.
I think he brought a lot of like his like pastiche and stuff to this movie, and I think it works.
Yeah, I think it works. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this movie. Having said that, I've got things, but as I told you off mic, none of them are necessarily negative. It's just, there's decisions made here. I think for me, the pacing would be the first thing I would say because I did enjoy it. I've watched it like 3 times now. So I do enjoy the film, but the pacing, Phil, at times I'm kind of waiting. Remember the joke we always had about how like they just didn't give Superman anybody to punch?
Hmm.
It I kind of was waiting for, man, when are they going to start throwing down? Like, and Phil, it's okay that it didn't start out with explosions. It's fine. I don't need that all the time. But there were moments where I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting, kind of waiting. I don't know. That didn't harm my opinion. Did you run into that too, or were you just like, I'll just be patient and see how it plays out?
I was fine with it because they were clearly doing like some world building and
Mhm.
really developing these characters. So I thought it was fine. But that's kind of the issue you run into uh, when you treat these characters more like scientists than superheroes, because essentially they're scientists that can do extraordinary things, and then they end up being, superheroes by necessity. And
Mm.
that very much comes across in this movie. Like we set up right away that they've been uh, the Fantastic Four for 4 years.
Mhm.
We get the montage, which I thought the montage was excellent.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we just get like a lot of show and not tell, to your point. Like we get a lot of talk about how great their exploits were, and just like they're really the biggest superhero team in this universe.
Mhm.
Um, but we don't get a lot of stuff to get to see that until they actually go in the action, and that's like maybe a good hour into the movie.
It is, yeah. We mentioned this is Earth 828, and we should note here that Kirby's birthday. They did it for Kirby's birthday because it's August 28th. So
Yeah.
Earth 828, nice touch. By the way, the homages here to to Kirby, of course, and to Stan Lee. The Timely Comics bit, dude, fantastic. It's such great stuff, man. I love that.
Yeah, I'm very much glad that they um honored Kirby in making this movie, because Kirby is such a big part of the creation of these characters. You could not do it without honoring him.
Mm.
And I know that Stan is the more popular guy with some people, and in some ways, Stan is divisive with people for that reason. But I just don't think you can make a Fantastic Four film in particular and not give it up to Jack Kirby.
No, I don't think it's possible. Um, there were a few different things that happened in the course of this movie that I was like, oh, they put that there. That's so cool that they put that there. So, I mean, again, man, visually, this movie's stunning. It looks really, really good. Cinematography is great. I love how the colors are soft, they're not abrasive. It
Hmm.
just very much has that, again, man, not to keep dwelling on, but the 1960s vibe. What do you think about the cast overall, man? You think everybody's working well together? Are there any weak points at all happening here, or do you think everything flows pretty well?
I think the cast is great. Um, I wish that we had gotten more of the thing at some point.
Mm,
But I think that the casting was good. Um, I think Vanessa Kirby was excellent.
freaking great.
I love that she is correctly made the most powerful member of the group.
Insane.
She feels like the leader of this group at
Yeah.
multiple times throughout this movie, and I like that. And it never felt like, okay, we have to make her the leader because she's a woman, and like it's the new age thing to do. It felt like the natural fit for her, because she's everything she's doing is maternal. Everything she's doing isn't like I have to take the lead and be a hands-on leader. It's I have to take the responsibility as my role in not just this group but in this family.
Mm. My wife's watched a lot of these movies with me,
Hmm.
and she said something to me during the third act when she's pushing Galactus through that wormhole, through that,
Hmm.
dimension. And it never would have hit me. But as soon as she did that, because we're sitting there, I'm like, God, my God, look at this. This is crazy. Look how strong she is. As soon as she pushes him through, she looks at me and she says, "We know what they say. You push a mother to her limits and she'll do anything to save her child. She'll find that strength." And I'm like, "Oh my God, dude, Phil, that was great." It reminded me of the whole Bruce Banner thing, like tapping into the hidden strength and all that stuff. It was actually really done, really well done, man.
Yeah, I thought that scene was great. There's several scenes with her that I thought was great, like when they're trying to escape Galactus and the Silver Surfer, and she outright tells Thing like, "Yeah, kill her," which is
Yes.
a very abrupt thing for her to say. Like, it's very drastic, but I think her whole thing is like, no, I'm trying to protect my child, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to give birth to my child on Earth and let them have a regular life. Like, if she's standing in a way, she has to go.
Yeah. He's like, "What?" And she says, "He's trying to take your nephew." Like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
What a
and
great
doesn't
thing.
even hesitate. I love that.
No.
Um, I think that Pedro is the best read we've gotten so far. I don't think it's
Mm.
close. I think this is probably the most comic accurate read we've seen on film so far. The fact that he's neurotic, the fact that he his arguments with Sue feel real.
Mm.
This feels like an actual real married couple,
It does.
and uh, the distance between the two of them sometimes in this movie are because what you'd expect from somebody of his intelligence and him feeling like I have to fix things and I have to do things like I know you want me to be here and do small things like put the crib together
Mhm.
and I just I don't have time for that. And the fact that he overthinks everything and like even his explanation for why he overthinks everything, I thought it was perfect.
Totally. Yeah, and, the character of Reed, I think when done correctly, is similar to Sherlock Holmes. Like, Sherlock Holmes is a dick. Yet he doesn't have friends. No one can be his friend because they wouldn't be able to stand it, because he is so his intelligence is off the charts. Hi
Hmm.
his level of being meticulous is second to none. His eye for detail, and he never misses a beat, never misses a thing. That's Reed to me. I would imagine Reed has a lot of friends, but I think Phil, you're kind of walking the tightrope here of, should Pedro have been a little bit more, I don't want to say abrasive, but portraying him as cold when he has to be because that's his scientific mind. I think they were dead on the money with that dude. It really felt like the actual character from the books to me.
Yes. Um yeah, I love their interaction when he's trying when they find out that Galactus is after the boy, and she immediately calls Reed out and says, "You're thinking about it," and he's like, "I have to,"
Mhm.
and she's just
Mhm.
like, "Well, what do you mean you have to?" Because she's thinking about it like a mother. Like I'm never thinking about putting my kid in danger, but because of who Reed is, he has to think about every potential possibility.
And they ended up doing it. They ended up using him as bait in the end.
Yeah.
Man.
Uh, but I mean, even just like their plan, which I could tell when they were coming up with their first plan, I was like, oh, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, let's go talk to him.
That's not gonna work.
What?
Yeah. But yeah, I love their argument in those scenes because he's not doing it in a malicious way. He's just looking at like I have to, as a scientist, as someone with this level of intellect, I have to think about every possibility.
Mhm.
No, I don't want to give up our son, but I do have to think about like what does this mean? Like, does the math make sense to uh, do all of this to protect one person, and it could mean the deaths of thousands, millions.
Yeah. Hard choices, but like them getting to the end of that, and then like she's the one that says basically, we have to use him as a decoy. And then at that point, Reed's like, no, we're not doing that. Like even she realized it's the only move we have left. We have to do this.
Yeah,
Man, when Galactus he's walking through there, God, man. Can we say that the CG and all this for Galactus is some of the best stuff I think Marvel's ever done? Like,
It,
you've got an eye for this, Phil. Did any of that hit you weird, or were you like, man, that's impressive?
it looks so cool. There's specific scenes like when they go out to space to talk to him, and we see him from behind, and like all the tubes are detaching, and like that like molten stuff is coming out of him, and he sits back, and you just see his glowing eyes. Man, so cool. Or
Mhm.
when he lands on a planet and he comes up out of the water, and the water
Yes.
is pouring off of him. God, so cool.
So awesome. Like, I don't know how the city could contain his body weight. How'd that happen? Like,
Yeah. Man, so cool. When he's walking up out of the water and he stops to look at the Statue of Liberty, and you can see how much taller he is than the Statue of Liberty, and like you see like the cityscape around him. Man, it's everything I've wanted out of a live adaptation of Galactus for so long. And getting to see it on a big screen is so cool.
is fantastic. Yeah. Beyond anything I could have imagined from this. We mentioned that Roger Corbin original, kids. I'm gonna tell you something. That's an interesting watch if you haven't dove into it. The 94 version. Here's what's cool. All the actors from that movie, Alex Hyde White, who played Reed, Jane Underwood, who played Johnny, Rebecca Stab, who played Susan, and Michael Bailey Smith, who played Ben Grimm. Let's see, Hyde and White and Stab provided voiceovers as newscasters, while
Hmm.
Underwood and Bailey Smith portray construction workers who look up at the Human Torch during the opening montage, with Underwood saluting his 2025 counterpart. How you like that?
Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was great that they made a cameo.
Yeah.
Um, Also, on the Galactus thing, I love that his suit was actually practical. They actually
Yes.
had like a live action suit. It wasn't all CG.
Did you think that we would ever get a Galactus in a Marvel film? Like, it seems like of all the big bads, he would be the hardest one to get right. Do you think we'd ever get here?
I did if Marvel got the rights back.
Hmm.
I think it would have been hard for another studio to make Galactus work. But I think because it's Marvel, they were going to make sure to get a comic accurate Galactus.
I mean, they got Thanos right, which
Hmm.
that's great. I mean, dude, it just feels like Marvel can, and it feels like the hip thing to crap on Marvel now. It feels like it was all whispers years ago, and now it's the thing to do is to rip on them and say they've lost it. It's over. They should have stopped with the streamers. They can't, no one could continue this momentum. And now we're just going to crap on everything. Phil, I think when this studio's at their best, they can't be stopped.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like doing justice by the source material, by the IP itself. I don't think any other studio can do what they can do, honestly. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, as a side note, do you have any commentary on the state of Marvel today? Do you think that are they fighting their way back, or you think they're still searching for their voice? I mean, how do you what's your own analysis of them right now?
I think it's funny that we keep having a cycle where every time Marvel has a movie that doesn't hit, um, people are like, "Oh, it's over."
Every
The
time.
every time, and then when they come back and have a movie that works, oh, they're back. Like
Yeah.
this is the best movie. This is the best Marvel movie they've made since Endgame. I've heard that multiple times now. It's like, well, how many times are we gonna do this cycle of? All right, now this is the best one. No, this is the best one. It's like, well, they've had a few movies since Endgame that were good. To act like every movie since Endgame hasn't been good is ridiculous. But because when Thunderbolts came out, the way people were praising Thunderbolts, like, oh, Marvel might be back. It's like,
Mhm.
but they've had good movies and good TV shows other than this. And then this movie hit, and people like this movie, and people doing the same thing again. Well, Marvel's back. It's like, well, how many times are they going to be back?
Right? They never went anywhere. Hey, look, we did Thunderbolts here on the 6M Kids. It's in the archives, so go check it out. But
Yeah,
dude, I was flabbergasted, Phil, to realize that movie didn't make any money. And I'm like,
yeah,
Phil, it's such a good flick, dude.
it's so
Like,
good.
man.
Great movie. And people were trying to throw that on this movie that it didn't make that much money, but I think when you compare it to some of Marvel's biggest success, not every movie's going to come out and be like $1 billion movie or
Yeah.
this box office smash hit. But I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed Thunderbolts, and that's where I stand as a fan. I don't make any money off of these things, so I don't really care about like the
Right.
box office stuff.
Yeah, same. I think in terms of like back to back action with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, I think they're doing great. And I heard this on another show the other day that like Superman, the new Superman movie. Yes, kids, we covered that as well here. That thing made over 500 million, but like during Marvel's height, that would have been considered not a great haul
Yeah.
because Marvel films were hitting a billion. But the comment was, well, look, that's where we are now. We're at 500 million now. We're not at a billion. For a movie to hit a billion, what needs to happen? And like, Shang-Chi still doesn't have a sequel, Phil. That movie made $1 billion. What are we
Yep.
waiting on?
Boink Studios YouTube is the home of Tom Clark's 6M podcast. Tom Clark's main event, Bear Mode, a podcast review of The Bear, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Subscribe to the channel for archives that date back to 2014, with new content being uploaded every week. And check out boinkstudios.com for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Bookmark the site today.
Dude, my commentary on the Marvel thing it's not negative, but I got a lot of questions about directions and choices made. And, again, none of it's negative, but it's just like them deciding to go from this point to this point when they go. I'm like, Simu Liu still does not have a sequel. I don't understand. And that's just one example, Phil, in my opinion, of weird things that happen with this studio at any given time.
Yeah. I think it is wild that Shang-Chi does not have a sequel at this point. But I just think it's so interesting that people focus on the movies that didn't work or the movies they didn't like.
Mm.
And every time that the studio has a success now, we have to hear about how someone didn't like Eternals or how they didn't like Ant-Man 3.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, we get it. But there's been other movies or other TV shows that have been really good. And I feel like every time we talk about like the last two phases of Marvel, we have to talk about how, oh, with this movie, I didn't like this movie though. Or because I think there's a lot of revisionist history as well. Um, the way people talk about phase one and like the Infinity Saga as if every single one of those movies was good is really strange to me
Mm.
because all of those movies were not great. I enjoyed them, but to act like, well, we wouldn't have had a movie like Ant-Man 3 in the Infinity Saga. And I'm just like, do you guys remember how you talked about Thor Dark World? You guys didn't like that movie. Why are we acting like every Marvel movie was a winner before Endgame?
Yeah, dude. Thor: The Dark World, and what's the other one they always threw under the bus from that first run?
A lot of people don't like Iron Man 3, which I think they're wrong about Iron Man 3.
Of course, they're wrong. We've made that clear here. Yeah,
But a lot of people don't like Iron Man 3. For a long time, Age of Ultron, people did not like Age of
that's
Ultron.
right. That's right. Yep, that's it.
The first Thor got a lot of hate as well.
I love the first Thor.
But yeah, it's interesting that people have forgotten that they did not like every Marvel movie at one
Yeah,
point.
revisionist history to be sure. Yeah, no doubt. Well, we spoke about the cast. Let's break this down. We know Pedro Pascal, and yes, he got his mustache. Kids, everybody, calm down. He's here as Reed Richards, of course. Vanessa Kirby, who we mentioned, is Sue Storm. Ebon Moss Backrack. I cannot recommend The Bear enough to you, Phil. Maybe one day you'll get into it.
No, I've watched every episode.
Have you? What show have you not been into that we were talking about recently? Peacemaker.
I've watched Peacemaker.
Have you?
I
Man, I'm
don't.
blanking
Maybe
on
it's
it.
Ted Lasso. I've never seen an episode. No.
Maybe it was Ted Lasso. Seemed like there was something else too. But yeah, dude, he is. I mean, in The Bear, he's fantastic. So complex, and his character growth is just off the charts.
Mhm.
His Ben Grimm is understated. He plays it very, very subtle. Dude, who would have thought that through a motion capture suit, we would get the thing, and he's not loud, he's not boisterous. And we got Johnny going, so what time is it? Like, you tell me what time it is? He just keeps poking him. Dude, it is so good, man. Joseph Quinn is Johnny Storm, by the way, Phil. Him and Backrack are great together, man. I think they're just pitch perfect here.
Yeah, I think that they're great together. I do think we should have gotten more with the Thing. He kind of plays the Thing as like the shy, subdued guy. And I don't know if that necessarily fits Thing. I think it fits Ben Grimm in some ways.
Yes.
Um, but I do like that they added other layers to the character. We saw some more of like his Jewish faith here. We saw like more of him just like hanging around Yancey Street, which you cannot uh, mention the Thing or pay homage to Jack Kirby without Yancey Street, and because that's such a big part of like Jack Kirby's influence on the comics. Like that's the neighborhood he grew up in. That's how he grew up. So if you're gonna put the Thing in this movie, you gotta add that in here.
Yeah, that was well done. Yeah. Well, when we started off this show, I told you I had thoughts and, not necessarily negative, but like, Johnny Storm's portrayal. And this was making the rounds. They were talking about this openly before the movie ever came out, that Johnny Storm was not going to be a womanizer because in 2025, we don't need that Johnny Storm. And of
Hmm.
course, everyone's thinking about Chris and the job he did in the Fantastic Four movies. And of course, they brought him back for the Deadpool Wolverine flick,
Hmm.
and he's fantastic. Phil, do you agree that Johnny Storm cannot be a ladies' man in 2025?
No, I just think that you have to find the right balance. And I think for the most part, they did find a good balance. I think that they play him as almost like this Captain Kirk kind of character of course, he's the guy that falls for the alien woman because
Mhm.
it's Johnny. Johnny's like, and that's very much in line with who Johnny is in the comics. Think about how many like women he fell for that were a part of the exploits. I mean, he ended up dating one in humans, and didn't he almost get married to one in humans?
I think so.
So I thought that fit. I thought that he played this as like, yeah, he they made him a scientist here, which in most adaptations or interpretations, he's not a scientist. Um, I was glad that he was smart here. He was competent. It did seem like he was just like running around annoying everybody, and he actually came up with part of the plan. Like he actually figured out like the alien dialect the Silver Surfer used. I
Mm.
really like that stuff. I really like the once he was like obsessed for lack of better words with Silver Surfer, and he jumped into scientist mode. I thought all of that stuff was where Quinn did some of his best work in this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was great. Again, I think he and Backrack together were a great duo. There,
I,
there were moments when I wondered, Phil, dude, I don't want to. I think the word soft is going to be taken way out of context, and I don't mean soft in the term of he's not manly enough, nothing like that. But there were moments when I'm like, maybe they could have went a little bit farther than they did. I mean, you feel that way about the Thing, but I kind of feel that way with Johnny too, actually.
yeah. Um, Yeah, I think if you were looking for like the Johnny that like drives muscle cars and has like a motorcycle and it's like walking around with leather jacket
Mhm.
and it's just like very quippy and is like constantly like hitting on women or constantly like, oh, Johnny's got some girl in his room. Um, that's not what you were gonna get here.
Right, right. Yeah.
I think the idea of masculinity in the 20s and like now is different as well. Like I
Oh
think
yeah.
just this idea of him is just different, and that's part of why I was fine with it.
And I'm fine with the character being adapted. I don't
Yeah,
have a problem with that. But see, I go back in my head to the way Evans played him, and it kind of felt like, there were moments when the way Chris played him was like, Oh, that's not really him. That's a front.
Hmm.
That's how he gets through life is by laughing it off and being the joker and being the carefree guy, but that's not really who he is. He really does love this family. So like and to me it kind of felt like that character is a little bit more complex. But having said that, I thought Quinn is insanely charming in this movie, dude.
Yeah,
I really loved him.
yeah. I thought he was very charming in the moments where he needed to. I thought that he felt like an annoying brother when he needed to. I thought
Yeah.
that his relationship with Ben worked. It wasn't as jokey and on the nose, but I did like their dynamic here. It seems like a lot of people online didn't like the whole say it.
Oh, come on.
I
Really?
thought that was funny. I like the idea that Ben would not be like I'm going because he's a scientist. Why would he be running around with a catchphrase?
Why would he be running around with a catchphrase? Do you like that he had clothes through the whole movie and not just the trench coat and hat that they gave Chickless in those other two films?
Yes, because I like the idea that he's still trying to hold on to being like this distinguished scientist and
Yeah.
astronaut.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna, and I think that's part of why him shying away from like the superhero stuff and like the cartoons and stuff that they made about them and the action figures and him having a catchphrase. Yeah, he would probably look at all of that stuff like that's not who I really am.
I love the world building, dude. The montages they have. We talked about it earlier, but it just feels like and I mentioned Superman earlier. One of the best things about Superman is you enter a fully formed world. You don't enter with the ship crash landing on Earth. Like we didn't begin this movie with them getting their powers. Like I love this approach. I hope we do this a lot moving forward. I mean, some movies, if you've never seen a character on screen, you kind of have to go through the origin. I get that, but there's something to be said for that, man. I think it served this movie very well. And I love the idea that they are like when she shows up and she's like, "Are you the protectors?" And she's like, "We are." Like she spoke up for them, which I thought was cool.
Yes. Um,
Phil, I kind of get the feeling there's no other heroes in this
yeah.
on this planet, right? I don't think there are.
They definitely made that apparent that they are the only superhero group of this world.
Mhm,
And I really like that because what Fantastic Four represents to Marvel Comics, they were the premier superhero team.
mhm,
They were the first comic that Marvel put out. And so, yeah, they should be established as the first team.
mhm.
Um, I've seen the other criticism of the world they live in that it doesn't feel like a lived in world. It kind of feels like all of these people don't feel like real people.
I mean, well, look, anytime we think about the 60s, we think of that powder blue, we think of the haircuts, we think of
Hmm.
also, Phil, this is not the 1960s that we know. This
Yeah.
is 1960s on another world. So, of course, it's not going to be 100% identical.
Um, the thing that I really like about it, if you know your history, is in America, 1960s was a very optimistic time in some ways.
Mm,
Right before the Kennedy assassination,
mhm,
and some of the stuff that changed people's mindset on the government, and the country got a lot more cynical after the 60s, going into the 70s, and you see more protests, you see more unrest in the country. Um, I like that. Yeah, in the 60s, more people would be hopeful, more people would believe in something like the Fantastic Four because the the obvious analogy we're supposed to get is that in the 60s, people would believe in something pure like four guys coming from Britain
mhm.
and having a band here, and people would just love it because it's just like, well, who are these guys? Like, and like, I just like the music. I'm enthused with who just these four people and like trying to learn everything about them. And I mean, it's obvious that they went with that analogy, just like the their show that they were on, which was
Yes.
basically the Ed Sullivan show. Like even the set and everything is very much the set that the Beatles were on when they did their performance at the Ed Sullivan show, and like the montage of them and just like everything about them, like the way that the news covers them, the way that they're treated like celebrities. just the idea of celebrity in the 1960s was different as well.
Yeah, I caught that stage, man. And by the way, they don't have a President Kennedy here. Like, to your point about the optimism and then everything changing, Vietnam happens later. Phil, this world may not go through any of that.
Yeah, maybe not because Reed has introduced a lot of innovations, and
Mhm.
we see that it's more of a developed society in terms of technologies and uh, where we were in the 1960s. Of course, you got flying cars, have
Mhm.
flying cars in the 60s.
Dude, even the pregnancy test was digital.
Yeah,
Like, what?
yeah. I really like that as well. That even
Yeah.
though the technology was advanced, it still was practical for that time period. Like Herbie looks very practical to that time period with like the reel to reels that they
Mhm.
use for his eyes. He didn't have like a digital display or anything. It still was analog. Um, I really liked it. I really liked the look of this movie a lot. Like the look
Yeah.
of their house they lived in. It felt like futuristic, but it also felt very much unique to that time period.
We got a Herbie and he looks good.
Yeah.
That's insane. And by the way, kids, Herbie was not all CG. He was actually a wooden puppet and a remote controlled animatronic with a functioning head and arms. That's
Uh,
pretty cool.
really cool. I like all of that stuff. Like I like the look of the Fantastic Car as well.
Oh, it's great.
Um, yeah, I really like the way this movie looked. I think that was really one of the biggest successes of this movie.
Is it whetting your appetite for the new Avengers flick?
Yeah, sure seems like it.
Do you have reservations? Because, with every movie, we hear stuff. And someone asked me the other day, what do I think about all the rumors going around about this new Avengers film having problems? I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't believe any of that right now.
Well, we're hearing conflicting things because
Yeah,
I know at one point they were talking about how there's no script. Have you seen that?
right. Yes, I
Um,
did.
which I forgot who it was that came out and had to retract and say, "Yeah, I eventually got a script." Who was it?
I know that Frank Grillo this past week talked about the difference between working with the Russo brothers and working with DC
Hmm.
was that the Russo brothers would shoot without a script and they would be constantly writing as they're going, and DC was not doing that.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh,
maybe. Uh,
that's a
yeah,
little
I think it was.
concerning.
I think it was Alan Cumming that said that he
I
didn't
think you're right.
initially have a script, and then he came back and retracted later and said, "Yes, I eventually saw the script." But there's also that quote of him talking about how he was so glad he got to make this movie because he had a terrible time making X-Men 2,
Yeah, I hated
and
it.
how like he did not enjoy working on that set and some of the stuff going on with Bryan Singer at the time.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. Very conflicting account so far.
Well, he hated the makeup, he hated the prosthetics, but now he only had to wear like a third of it because the rest of it they can just CG and he looks great.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like him a lot, man. God, he's a talented guy, dude. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, I love the look of this. I think they nailed that. I think it's something they had to get right, and they absolutely got it right. We did one of the Easter eggs we got here, Phil. We're talking about Avengers when they're at that United Nations thing, and I love that Sue has got a lot of attention,
Hmm.
right? Which is pretty cool. But as the camera's panning over, there's the placard for Latveria, and of course, Victor Von Doom is not there, but we get him at the end.
Yeah.
That is wild. Like I can't venture a guess what they're gonna do with RDJ here. Like, well, is there only one Doctor Doom? And he's the in the Avengers film, he's the guy from their reality, I assume. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens, honestly.
Yeah. We've gotten our first look at Doom in costume already,
Mhm.
um, which looks pretty great. I was glad we got a Latveria reference here. Very excited about that. Um, I love that Sue has more than one task here, and again, that really pushes this idea of her being um, the most maternal, the person that has the most responsibilities, because it's like she acts as leader of the group, but also she acts as a diplomat.
Mm.
And you immediately see with the Mole Man cameo that Mole Man is like, yeah, I'll talk to her. I'm talking to Reed Richards. I hate Reed. And you see that that's kind of the dynamic that people are, because Reed is cold and standoffish, and at least like Sue tries to reason with people, which I'm sure that'll set up a certain Atlantean that would prefer to talk
Mm,
to her and not Reed.
that'll be interesting. I forgot about that deal. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. Yeah, when Mole Man says, he looks at Johnny and says, "Don't get mad at me, Johnny. I didn't dress you like that." Paul Walter Hauser, Phil, dude, I defy anyone to not like this guy. He's very good at what he does, man. I think when he gets the right part, and he crushes it, honestly.
Yeah, I love that they set up a lot of the Fantastic Four villains. We got
Mm.
nods to some of their smaller villains. Um, what happened to John Malkovich? Because he's in the trailer. He's not in the
He
movie though.
he was the ghost. He because the ghost had the red apes, right?
Yes.
And yeah, he was. I kept looking forward to, because remember there was speculation that he was going to be Franklin from the future.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. I know it got cut.
Yeah, his scenes got cut, but he was in the trailer. I thought we were gonna see him, but it turns out they did set up a lot of the like smaller, lesser known Fantastic Four villains, and I was excited to see those references. Very excited to see Mole Man here. Um, the homage to the famous Fantastic Four #1 cover. That was cool.
Yeah, that was very cool. They recreated that cover. How insane is that, man?
Yeah.
That yeah, that was very cool. I mean, again, kids, if you're a comic book fan, I hopefully you came away from this pretty happy, because they gave you a lot of stuff to chew on, things that references that maybe only you would get.
Yeah.
Uh, you
I,
know what
I
I
love
mean?
I love that Galactus's ship was very comic accurate as well. It looked like
Mhm.
his the ship that he was on when he first appeared. Um, I thought Silver Surfer was great. I know some people were upset about the gender change.
Mhm.
When I actually saw the movie, I think the gender change worked with the dynamic they were trying to set up with Johnny.
Mhm.
That felt like it kind of had to be a woman to again put him in this spot like he's Captain Kirk of like this explorer that like falls for the alien woman.
Yeah,
And I thought like their interactions were really good.
I agree. That's Julia Garner. I'll be honest with you, I didn't care for the CG. There was something about her face that, for me personally, I don't know if it was the eyes. There was something that wasn't, I don't know, wasn't right. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I thought her performance was fine, and I didn't have a problem with the switch at all. But
Yes.
I don't know. I felt, dude, I almost felt like that the CG for the Lawrence Fishburne version of the Surfer was actually better than this. I don't know.
The other reason that the gender change worked because you set up the backstory for her as Shala Ball, where she gave up everything to protect her family, protect her
Hmm.
kids, and she became the hero for Galactus so that he would spare them. And so, of course, she would understand more than anybody what Sue is trying to do. And set off, of course, set up her face turn.
Ah, yes.
And I think that added more depth to it. That made like the connection between her and Fantastic Four make a little bit more sense.
She made the save.
Yeah,
She came running down the ramp at the end, made the save. I agree. And this won't be the last we see ever. I
of
don't think
course.
there's any chance.
Of course. I was glad that it wasn't like, okay, they managed to like destroy Galactus or something. Like they just got rid of him momentarily.
Yeah.
Because that's always been how it's worked with Galactus. Like they've managed to either outwit him or, get him to go away for a while or negotiate with him or do something to defer him. But you're not destroying Galactus.
Yeah, and I love that Galactus didn't have any motivation. Like murder and death and chaos, none of that mattered. That's not why he did any of it. He had that hunger that had to be fed. He had to be fed. And the only thing he cared about was, I'm going to transfer this. This kid can handle it. This kid's going to be the one that takes over for me.
Yes.
That was a
Uh,
great, great idea, man. I love that.
yeah, I love that his whole motivation here is like I'm trying to get rid of this insatiable hunger. Um, if I'm not going to destroy this world, then I'm going to transfer it over to this kid so I can get rid of it.
Mhm.
Um, I really love that, and that sets up a lot of stuff with Franklin. If you've read Fantastic Four comics and like his connection with Galactus,
Mhm.
a lot of Hickman ideas here that I kept thinking like, oh, I hope they do this. I hope they do that.
Yeah, and I mean the level of powers, by the way, not just for Franklin, but for the rest of the team. Like Sue being, I mean, she lays her hands on the ships and turns it invisible. Like, I don't know why that would not have popped into my head, but like as soon as she did, I'm like, oh well, of course she could do that. Like, dude, I love that despite what people want to throw at this studio, that we have firmly established on this podcast that if Scarlet Witch and or Captain Marvel had had enough time, Thanos would have been dead on that battlefield.
Yes.
And I love that like Sue Storm kicked Galactus square in the face and pushed him through that. Like that was phenomenal. Like Marvel does have a great habit of displaying powerful women, which I really love, man.
Yes. And I think that like for where we are in the world, I liked losing myself in a movie where people were hopeful and that the scientists came out and said like this is what we as a people need to do and
And
everybody
everybody did
agreed.
it.
Everybody did it. It wasn't like, all of these people were hateful and spiteful when
Right.
Sue came out when they were demanding, answers and demanding them give up the baby. She came out and spoke to them and met common ground with people
Mhm.
and they understood. Um, Based on the world we're in right now, it was nice to see that.
Oh, you know what I thought when all this was happening in the film? If this would have been our Earth, we never would have made it. Galactus would have killed us.
No, because we wouldn't have adhered to like the energy saving program that they wanted to do, so they could start to build the gates.
Oh, yeah.
Um, because yeah, well, why do I have to turn my lights off? Like,
Yeah, I turned my lights off. Some liberal made that up. It's all BS. Yeah, okay, man. It's a liberal plan. It's a plot. They're just trying to take away my rights. Okay, man. Yeah, we never would have made it. Dude, at this point, Phil, some days I'm kind of hoping Galactus shows up. Like, let's just take his thing. Let's take it home. Do you know what I mean? Let's just go. Yeah.
yeah. So I love this summer. We got two distinct views of the world. We got like the fictionalized version of Earth in the 1960s, where it
Mm-hmm.
was very more hopeful, and then you got the Superman movie, where that was a lot more believable to the world we're in. Where you've got this yelling, narcissistic megalomaniac that is
Mm-hmm.
getting people to fear an alien.
Yeah. And you've got monkeys on the internet because that's what we have.
Yes.
For real. Kids, we didn't mention Ralph Ineson as Galactus. He is his speaking voice. The minute you hear that actor talk, you're like, yep, that's Galactus.
Per-
That's
Perfect.
ooh, freaking great. I was very much a fan of that and the way they pulled that off. Like they just managed to pull it off. It is freaking wonderful, man.
Yes, man. Galactus in the third act is so great. When he's walking through and they try to trick him, and then when he realizes he gets tricked,
Yes.
he's just like almost just like unrelenting. They're just like trying to stop him, and he's just like bugs. Annoying bugs. Get out of
He
here.
calls him clever, I think, or something like that. Yeah. When his foot almost crosses that threshold, it's like, oh, I'm not walking there. That's freaking great.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk that we had not only would have got a comics accurate Galactus, but that he could emote. Like, who in the world ever saw that coming, man?
Yeah, he could emote. He actually was like not just like this like nameless, soulless threat. He actually had common sense. He was smart.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is insane. So, okay. So we mentioned Ted Lasso earlier. Sarah Niles is here. She played Dr. Sharon on that show. She plays Lynn Nichols, who is the chief of staff of the Future Foundation. Let me tell you this, man, as we're going through this, I actually believed before I saw this movie that Galactus was going to destroy this world because we see the ship in Thunderbolts and we knew it was their ship. Now, I
Mhm.
don't know because I haven't found out. I don't know what they're seeing when they see this. They got a glimpse of it. I'm guessing that moment hasn't happened yet. It's happening later. Maybe they're coming to warn, Earth 616 about doom. But I wonder how they're going to piece this together, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things was missing from this movie that they set up that scene in Thunderbolts, and then we didn't get it here at all. We didn't even get a reference to it. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can come to the conclusion that they created the gates, and the gates will lead to multiversal travel. Sure,
Mm.
but yeah, we didn't really get a reference to that post-credit scene. We don't know how they got there. We just see the Fantastic Four ship at the end of Thunderbolts. I liked that this movie was self-contained, but I also felt like for such a big teaser at the end of Thunderbolts / New Avengers, I wish we got at least something that referenced it.
Yeah, I found that very odd. I got to be honest with you, man. I truly thought this world was done for. Because and by the way, before that third Guardians film, I never would have thought that. But dude, an entire planet was destroyed in that third Guardians film. And I get it. They were animal human hybrids or whatever, or animals, evolved. But dude, they still destroyed an entire planet right in front of you, and you got to see it happen, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the snap. We've seen some pretty dark moments in this universe. So I agree. I did think that coming into this movie, they're going to have to flee their universe, but I'm glad that didn't happen because
Yeah.
for the Fantastic Four's first movie, they shouldn't lose. They should come out and this should feel hopeful. It should be a happy ending. Um, Even at the
Mm.
end of the movie where it seemed like Sue was going to die, I was like, are they really doing this? They almost convinced me at one point. I was like, what?
Same.
uh, and what a great ending. I think everything they set up with Nathan as well was really good. I don't know. I think if they destroyed the universe, it would have been such a downer to end that movie on. I think the whole point of this movie is that they're not the Avengers. The Avengers have their problems. They have two leaders that are very much. I don't want to say compromised. Compromise might be the wrong word, but they're complicated. They're complex characters, and Reed is a complex character as well. But I think the big difference that they sell in this movie about the difference in them as a team is that they're a family and that they approach everything together. And I thought like the familial aspect to this came across really well. The fact that they're all scientists and they are thinking things out differently than the Avengers would also came across really well. Because the other part of this is I don't know that people really understand the point of Infinity War. This is my rant about this sometimes. I don't
Do
think that
tell.
I don't think that people understand the point of Infinity War is that the Avengers lost because they were split up and the two leaders of the group were being too stubborn to just talk to each other and come together. They beat Thanos in Endgame because everyone came together to beat him. If Tony had just called Steve instead of going into space by himself and everybody came together and tried to come to a solution, Thanos wouldn't have won. I see people all the time try to say, well, it's Star-Lord's fault or it's this person's fault. It's everybody's fault. Everybody
Yeah.
was emotionally compromised and they did not come together until the end of Endgame. That's why they lost.
Yeah.
And so I think it for this movie, yeah, they would come up with a solution to beat Galactus because they were unified for the entire movie. They were in this together, and they got the people to be in it together with them. They got the people of Earth to believe in them. So for them to get that far by the end of this movie, where we're going to protect you, we promise, and then they lose, that wouldn't have made sense.
And not only that, Phil, but they all four characters would have been carrying the weight of that for the rest of the time that we saw them,
Yes.
no matter what movie we ever saw them in.
Yes. You would have had a Reed character for the rest of this franchise feeling conflicted that he chose his son over the well-being of the rest of his universe.
Mm. Yeah,
And
good call.
Reed Richards, the character, would not know how to live with that.
By the way, we didn't mention Natasha Lyonne is here as Rachel Rosman. She was named Roz as a tribute to Jack Kirby's wife,
Mhm.
Rosalind Goldstein, which I thought was again another great nod. I was kind of surprised that she wasn't Alicia,
Yes.
but I guess they're saving that for down the road, I suppose.
Yeah, I liked her inclusion in this movie. They didn't go with the blind character because only a blind person would love Thing. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't go that aspect in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they would need to do that now because the thing of this world seems to be he's not a joke. He's not an abomination, no pun intended. He's just a regular guy who happens to be made of rock. Like it's so normal in this world that he can just walk around and people can see him in broad daylight. No one kids love him. They're telling him to throw a car. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's just walking around as this man to people. He's still in his old neighborhood walking around. He's not shying away and like trying to hide from the world.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity.
Yeah, right. Kids, just to throw some more trivia here at you. If you heard the word Excelsior for the rocket, I mean, we don't have to tell you where that came from, of course, which was another nice wink and a nod to the late great Stan Lee.
Hmm.
And let's see, the giant monster of the Fantastic Four, as we said during the montage that they fought, is a nod, of course, to the cover of Fantastic Four #1. There were a lot of practical effects in this movie because Matt Shakman, the director, was using 2001: A Space Odyssey as a direct influence. I think it showed, Phil. I don't
Yeah,
right, like I think with the exception of the Surfer and Galactus, it really felt like a lot of it was a nice combination, a nice balance of CG and real world. I really like that.
for sure.
By the way, I don't know that I bumped into this, okay, too hard, but she gives birth in the middle of that ship with her brother, 30 feet from her. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's fine, but there were moments I'm like, okay, man, I don't know. I think it could have been very weird, but I think it came off fine. I don't know how they pulled that off, but I think it came out fine. I was kind of surprised how well it came out, actually.
Yeah, because I think that they're all looking at it like, um, they're looking at it like procedural. They're looking at it like scientists. They're like, okay,
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's not like ill. My big sister, I don't want to see that. It's like, it was handled with dignity.
Mhm. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah. Because I don't think the Chris Evans Johnny Storm would have been that calm.
No, he would have been making all kinds of like, vagina jokes and all kind of weird stuff.
Sure, yeah. So the decision to make this Shalabal and not Silver Surfer. I mean, we're going to assume that somehow she maybe gets out of this and maybe gets to return to her human form. I don't know how they'll work this. We assume we're going to see Norin Rad. But Phil, I kind of like that where you don't have to be in a rush to see him.
Hmm.
And by the way, this multiverse thing that's happening, of course, we've known about it for quite some time in Marvel. Like, do we assume there's just one Galactus? Or do we think, I mean, mind blowing moment, right? Do we think there's more than one Galactus, which means there would be more than one Herald? And how far do you go with that story? Do you know what I mean? That's crazy to even think about.
Yeah, I thought about that immediately when I saw the casting because it takes place in another universe. So, what does it hurt to have a female Silver Surfer?
Hmm.
But if you've read comics, Galactus has had multiple heralds. Um,
That's true.
I'm sure, we'll see another Silver Surfer, or maybe we'll see another hero. Maybe we'll see like a Fire Lord or something.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see, how all this plays out, man, because I think obviously they've opened doors with Doctor Doom. We know the new Avengers movie is happening. And yes, kids, you're hearing all kinds of stuff. But I encourage everyone out there to take it with a grain of salt. Like, Phil, I know the Russo brothers, the stuff they did outside of Marvel, that thing to do with Chris Pratt was not great. And they took a big swing at it, spent a lot of money, I think, but it just did not land. But man, their track record with Marvel is hard to argue with. I have a hard time believing this movie is going to tank. I anything's possible, Phil. What are you hoping to get from that movie? Do you think that they'll be laying the groundwork for the future of Marvel? Do you think this will be a way to give a lot of actors and actresses their last hurrah in their suits? Do you think it'll be a combination of both? What do you think about that?
I think it's very exciting to see the idea of the Fantastic Four interacting with the other characters.
Mhm.
Um, I can't wait till we get a second Fantastic Four movie, though. It's kind of like where we were when we got the first Spider-Man movie and when we got the first Black Panther movie, where it was like, oh, that's cool. They're gonna interact with all these other characters, and there's gonna be like this big ensemble cast in the Avenger movie. That sounds fun, but I want to see what they do more with these characters in their own standalone movie.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's already immediately so many things that I keep saying the big one for me is Spider-Man has to interact with these four characters. I mean, Spider-Man is like at home with the Fantastic Four. I feel like Spider-Man is more important to the Fantastic Four than he is to the Avengers.
I agree with that. And listen, this version of the Fantastic Four, he'll have a lot more in common with this Johnny, I think, than he would have the other team, honestly, because he's such a nerd. He's so smart. And so is this Johnny. He's such a smart guy, man. Like, there's still, of course, that women turn their heads because they're the right age and they're single guys. But like, again, Peter's incredibly smart. Johnny's incredibly smart. This is the team of the Fantastic Four that we have now. I think it'll just be a different animal. And dude, I hate that you know, we missed Tony Stark having a conversation with Reed Richards on screen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say what's going to happen here, Phil, but do you think I don't know, we could guess all day. We could go another hour guessing about that Avengers film, but like, yes, we know he's playing Victor Von Doom, but he has Stark's face. Does that mean he's Stark in that world? Was he I mean, right now we don't know anything. I just don't know, Phil, if I need to see him as Tony Stark again. Personally, I think we're okay to just leave that alone. Do you think that they'll
Yeah.
be able to leave that alone? The temptation will be too much, maybe.
I think that the Russos probably care enough about Endgame and like the finality of Endgame that they wouldn't just undo Tony's death.
Mm,
And I think that they're probably going to handle it better than any other creator would because that was their movie.
yeah, good call. I'm excited to see what happens, man. I'm probably going to watch this movie again. I really enjoyed it, man. Before we wrap this up, I got to say, and this is circling all the way back to when we started talking about the cast, this weird thing that people do where they just hate for the sake of hating. I think Pedro Pascal is great.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about this. I forget what show it was on. But this notion that he's in too much stuff. I'm like, I don't know. What are you complaining about? Like, he's an in demand, he's a working actor, Phil. He's in demand. People cast him because he's easy to work with. He's a professional and he does a bang up job. And I love that they played Reed this way, Phil. They could have went another route with it and they chose not to. I mean, they've got a great cast here, man. I just can't gush enough about this cast, dude. I think everybody, especially with Pedro leading the way, was fantastic. No pun intended.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's part of the world we live in and the era of movie stars as like the driving force behind franchises is just not a thing anymore. And so
Yeah.
people don't understand this idea of a in demand leading man. So I think he's fine. It'd be one thing if he was being cast in all these things and he wasn't a phenomenal actor. But he's such a great actor. He's done a great job in most of the movies and TV shows he's in. Um, and I think some of the other stuff is just, he's very outspoken on a lot of things, and people don't like that. He was one of the people recently that was saying cancel your Disney Plus service. Um, what a beast!
Yeah,
There are
he's
part of
great,
two
man.
franchises that are on his streaming platform. He's like, nah, cancel Disney Plus.
Hey, man, had to be said. I'm just saying it had to be said. By the way, we finally got John Krasinski as Reed in that Doctor Strange film,
hmm
and he did a bang up job. I mean, now we've seen Pedro. Should we maybe see another version of the Fantastic Four in some multiverse experience, or do you think we got our Fantastic Four now? Let's just leave well enough alone.
I wouldn't mind seeing Ian reprise the role.
Yeah.
I think that would be like a fun nod to those movies. I would mind seeing like a Council of Reeds like we got out of the Hickman comics.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That's how you could do it. That's how you could do it, man. That's how you could bring Ian back. I mean, yeah, dude. I'd be here for that actually.
Yeah.
But Jessica Alba with her blue contacts and her dyed hair, or her wig, I should say.
Yeah, I can't say enough great things about John Hickman's Fantastic Four. Such a great book. I hope that because they're using stuff like the incursions from his run on Avengers, that we're going to see more of his ideas here.
Mhm. By the way, we have not mentioned that this baby is CG quite a bit of the time. When she's laying there dying, in my head, I'm like, why didn't you just put a real baby on her chest? I don't understand why this is. Dude, it didn't ruin the moment for me because Vanessa Kirby's fantastic. But I did sit there going, all right, this isn't a real child on her. It's so weird, Phil, the choices that they make for these films. Like maybe it wasn't feasible to do it. Maybe it was, I don't know, whatever you want to say, but I don't know. I kind of felt like this is when this baby needs to be a real baby, not a CG thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It didn't ruin it for me. It's fine. Well, like I said, man, I'm probably going to watch this again, dude. I just really enjoyed this film, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love that note that it ended on, that Sue, once she found out that Galactus was after Nathan, she did everything possible to protect her kid from him. And it almost cost her her life. And in the end, Nathan saved her. And I think that's such a great symbol for what Nathan represented at the end of this movie. Of, maybe if this was just another scenario, maybe Reed makes a more darker decision because he's trying to be pragmatic. But I love that the idea that having a kid humanized them.
Now you're saying Nathan, you mean Franklin?
Franklin, sorry. Nathan
Yeah,
is
no
the dad.
worries.
Sorry.
In my head, I'm thinking Nathan Summers, like Cable, is where my head was going.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Nathan
Another
is Sue.
kid that ended up having a
Sorry.
big impact on his parents. So.
Yeah, Franklin. Nathan is Sue's dad.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, man, no matter how many of these movies we talk about, no matter how many movies they make, it will never be lost on me the stuff that we've gotten to see as comic book fans. Like, we live in the worst possible timeline when it comes to a lot of stuff, to maybe most things right now. But if there's anything that you can take some sort of happiness in, especially if you're a comic book fan, or maybe a pro wrestling fan too, is that you're getting some very cool content in the past 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
stuff that you never thought you'd see, man. Like, at least there's something, Phil. Dude, we got to have something. If we don't have something, I don't know. Might as well Galactus just come on. I don't know, man. Like, again.
Yeah. Nathan Richards, I did see some speculation that maybe John Malkovich was going to play him as well. Like
Yeah.
there was the speculation that he was going to be Franklin from the future, and then there was also speculation that he's going to be Nathan. Of course, Nathan is Reed's dad. I think I said Sue's dad at one point. But then he's also got the ties to Immortus and everything else. So maybe you might have mentioned Nathan if we also are like not trying to steer away from Kang.
Yeah. Yikes. That whole Kang stuff, man. We talked about it a lot. Talked about that a lot here. But yeah, what a mess.
Yeah. And isn't Nathan a time traveler?
I think you're right.
Yeah. So they probably wanted to steer clear of like time travel and anything that might have made people think about Kang.
What a great actor, man. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, look, kids, no one's defending anybody. Don't nobody get upset. I mean, I get why he was cut. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but also, if I remember correctly, if I my comic book knowledge is correct, Kang is a descendant of Nathan, right?
oh, is he?
I believe that he is.
Mm. By the way, the Malkovich thing, to circle back to that, he was cut because, according to the director, Matt Shankman, he told Variety at the time that there was too much content to balance in the film's first act, which included the Fantastic Four establishing a 60s retro future world and introducing a child. And then Malkovich's scenes, which depicted him battling the Fantastic Four with his super apes, were removed to streamline the narrative, though Shackman described the decision as heartbreaking. Well, I'm sure Mr. Malkovich still got paid for his time and trouble.
Yeah. Bit ironic because John Malkovich was one of those people that did not have great things to say about comic book movies,
Nope.
and then
Said
he
it
ended up in
was.
one, and then cut at the last minute.
Well, he got in those Red movies,
No,
and
that's right.
right. So technically, he did it, but they offered him Green Goblin, and he basically said, "This is beneath me." I'm like, well, you know what, pal? We didn't want you anyway. Like,
Yeah.
bye.
Willem Dafoe did a great job. Come on.
Can't top Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, man. Forget about it. Not only can't top him, but he loved doing it and couldn't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
That's what I love about that guy, man. I kind of think Willem Dafoe, I kind of imagine as Gary Busey if Gary Busey hadn't went nuts. Do you know what I mean? Like Gary Busey's so much talent and an obvious passion for doing this stuff, like Defoe has, but Defoe is much more laser focused. And man, you tell that guy what you need, he'll do it for you. That's an actor's actor right there, man. Great stuff. Well, kids, there you have it. There's our review of the Fantastic Four. It took us a hot minute to get it, but we got it. And now you got it, and we hope you dug it. So, Phil, before we get out of here, let's get your last word on the Fantastic Four first steps.
I thought it was great as a debut for the Fantastic Four in the MCU. I thought it did everything it needed to do to establish these characters. It was a low bar, but we finally got a great on-screen Galactus. I think we got the perfect dynamic between Reed and Sue. Probably the best Sue we've gotten so far. Again, can't say that was a high bar to cross, but I really enjoyed this movie, man. I think just this idea that the Fantastic Four was one of those properties that was almost impossible to make work in the 2020s. I never really bought into that idea. It really didn't have to be that hard. Just like hone in on the fact that they're a family, they're scientists, they're explorers, and the rest kind of falls into place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't think we'd ever get here. When they announced it, I'm like, wait, Feige's? And then I heard the cast. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be fine. Like I felt perfectly fine with it at that point. Well, kids, they made that Watchmen movie, and we said that couldn't be done. Then after they made it, we're like, yep, that probably shouldn't have been done. But depends on your own point of view. I know people who love that movie, but I also know people that think we didn't land on the moon. So I don't know. I don't know how you gauge those two things side by side. But yeah, dude, we finally got the Fantastic Four. We got an actual Galactus who doesn't is not comical, that you didn't laugh him on off the screen. That's pretty darn impressive. And again, like I've said this many times, I'm in the bag for Marvel. I'm here for everything they do, and I may not love every single thing they do, but I'm supporting this studio. Man, I'm sorry, just it's how I roll. Because again, I remember the before times we didn't have anything. So yeah, everybody looking forward to the new Avengers flicks. They're doing two, I think, back to back, maybe at the same time. So we'll see if the Russo brothers can bring that magic back, and that way we can all say Marvel's back
Again.
again. The Empire Strikes Back again and again and again. So yeah, fingers crossed, kids. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll review those movies when they get here. But in the meantime, that is the Fantastic Four First Steps. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. check out our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at 6M Podcasts. We'll see you next time.